Alright, so to continue from where we left off, so as you can see, we did not do anything fancy. After the second natural join table, we inserted and then we decided to query the result. If I should highlight it to extract the value, you can see that it will print out the result for me. It will print out the result. And we can see that we have what we want. You can see that we have what we're looking for. So now this allows us to combine these two tables together. So we combine them together based on my name column and based on my data column. So it's using the data column to reference this name column, just like our inner join. But this one deals with constraints. So it's using the basis of the constraints to be able to combine data in both tables together. So it's using our constraint. So now you can see that here it's going to select values based on this column here, which is my name, that correspond with values in this column. Of course, the values inside my second table must be exactly the same values. Even if it's not everything, I have to make sure that everything that's here must be inside my first table. So now, since I only inserted two row values that are similar to my first value, it's only going to take Adam and Alex and match it with Adam and Alex as well. So you can see that we have our row from the first table and our rows from the second table. Now, the reason why it's having serial number joined together is because now what the natural join does is that because we have two columns that are similar, serial number, it takes both of them and puts them as one. So that's the beauty of using natural join. Alright, so it's just similar to our inner join, but it uses constraints. Alright, so let's look at the group by clause. So for this, we would need to create a new table. So, but before we proceed on the group by, let's just explain what this simply means. So group by, so this allows us to group related values in a column together. This allows us to group or arrange related values or similar values in a column together and apply an aggregate function on corresponding or matching numerical values in a column of that table. So this allows us to hold or group related values together in the column of a table and apply an aggregate function on numerical values in another column of that same table. Alright, so I know that is a bit technical and complex, but we're going to be writing it out practically so that we can understand. Now, let me explain what aggregate functions are. So, aggregate functions are functions that allow us to perform numerical arithmetic operations. So, these are functions in most programming languages that allows us to perform arithmetic operations on multiple values in the column of a table and return back a single value as the result. So I would say that again. So these are functions that allow us to perform arithmetic operation on multiple numerical values in a column of a table and return back a single value as the result. So I'm going to create a table for that so that we can explain what the what a group by means. What a group by statement means. You just create table, group table, the group table. So now this table would have some values. We have a serial number, call it serial. We have name, call it character varying 50. We say course, character varying. I can say score, float. Alright, so I'm going to do this. So you say insert into group table. So insert into group table, I'm inserting into name, course, and score. And we have values. Then for name we have Adam. Then we have physics. We have 84.2. Then we also have Alex. We have biology. We have 85.3. We have Gregory. Ask your champion. Let me ask your champion. Mr. Jimmy, the champion. Great man. Do it now. Hey boss. No, do it. I'm not doing it too. I'm not doing it. I don't sabi. I beg. No. You sabi? I know if you sabi. Don't be lie. Give me a beg. I don't sabi uncle. I don't sabi now. I don't sabi now. Physics, we have 83. Then we have, we'll go again, Alex. We have biology. We have David. Have chemistry 7.4. David chemistry. Yeah. And we have I think that's basically it. Okay, so we have Gregory, mathematics. So now the reason why I repeated them is so that I can apply my aggregate function and you can see what I actually mean by that. So when I say aggregate, you can see exactly what I mean. Alright, so you highlight them, you run everything together. Highlight it, So I've inserted into our table. So now the way we can actually use the group by clause or statement is a lot different from the way we already know how to. So I can just come here and say select. So now the group by, we must use it together with an aggregate function, or else it won't work. You would get an error. So now since I'm using these two columns to group my table, the serial number would not be included because I'm going to apply an aggregate function on score. So I'm going to group the values in my table based on these two columns here, these two column titles. So you would just say select name comma course. So what I want to do now is that I want to take the average. So you can see that we have Adam physics here, Adam physics here. So I'm going to take the average of these two and get the average value of Adam who offered physics. So Adam took a physics test 2 times and we want to get its average. So that's what we are doing. So we want to group it together and we want to apply an aggregate function. Alex also took biology test twice. So we want to group them and apply an aggregate function. Gregory also took a mathematics test twice. We want to get his average, each of their average. So I will just open up a parenthesis and say AVG. So before we even proceed, we have some aggregate functions. So I can just state them out here so that you can be able to see them properly. So aggregate functions. So the first one we have is the average, of course, which is the mean. We have the minimum, we have the maximum, we have the summation, and we have count. So now each of these aggregate functions allow us to perform arithmetic operations on values in the column. So we're using average in the sense that we want to find the average score if students took tests multiple times or twice. All right, so you say AVG, so score. So I'll just give it an alias. I'll just call it average score. And you select your table, you say from my group table. You now come here and say your group by. So group by name comma course. So I'm grouping them by name and course. Alright, so you run this, you discover that you're going to take all of them together and return back a single value. So you can see it took Gregory and maths, the two Gregory and maths we had, Gregory maths, and applied an aggregate function on this and got the average, which is 88. So this is his average score. Took Adam and physics, Adam physics, took those values, put them as 1, and applied an aggregate function as well, 83. That is his average score. So it did the same for every single value here, and you can see the new alias, the alias name. Although that's not the name of the column of my table, it's just an alias to refer to that column. All right, then we have the halving, of course. So the halving, obviously, just a minute. So I will just call this group by. So group by, give it a title. It's always good to label what you are doing. So halving, so we want to select people whose average was above a particular amount. So I would explain what halving is. So having is group by's own variant of the where clause. So if you can remember then when we were talking about where, we said where allows us to be able to perform an action based on a specific criteria or based on some condition. So now having has the same definition but is used on a table that we are applying a group by clause on. So you cannot use where with group by, you have to use having. So having does the same thing as the where clause. So I would copy this since I'm going to use this. So I want to find out students whose average, who their average score was above 85. I want to find out students whose average score was above 85. All right. So we'll be looking at that. You can just come here and say having. So having the average score, greater than 85. Let me just say 85.8. So we don't have any 85.8 there, or we have values greater than 85.8. So now this will print out just these two rows alone, 88.5 and 87.5. Allows us to print out. So these are the two students that scored that particular amount. Alright, so now with that being said, this brings us to the end of the tutorial. So till next time, have a very good day.